Well, our involvement in Community District Brooklyn 3 Garage began in 2006. It actually began a good bit before that, where sanitation had identified the only remaining site in Brooklyn that was substantially empty except for private bus depot on the southern end of the site. Brooklyn 3 came about again about a decade later with the city's new mandates to meet LEED Silver for a facility like this. Sanitation voluntarily elected to pursue a LEED building. And most of the strategies are carried forward from our Manhattan 125 project with sanitation. Very standard, proper materials, simplified but very efficient HVAC systems. And then finally, by placing the garage in the neighborhood it serves, it significantly reduces vehicle emissions and miles driven, while also improving service to the community. Simply put, DSNY wants to be the best building in the neighborhood. They understand nobody wants a sanitation garage in their backyard. So how did we accomplish this? We worked extensively with the late Michael Friedlander, the Director of Special Projects at Sanitation, and we also worked with each and every user group to develop a facility that works for them, and their land use department to make sure that we had a facility that worked for the community. We really looked at, what if we live next door to the project? If I'm living in an apartment and I can see out onto the roof, what do I see? So that led to an extensive green roof and a photovoltaic array that's sort of a crown on top of the building to shield all of the mechanical equipment on the roof. Finally, we really gave a lot of thought to what the experience would be on the street. And all of that together was really to basically take this building from NIMBY to YIMBY.
We have taken to heart our fundamental concept of being a good neighbor to this neighborhood, really situating ourselves at this nexus of several different use cases, different cultural histories. And so we've realized these goals of our concept design at the grade level through ample daylight, ample glazing, allowing for both day-to-day activities of the Department of Sanitation in their own garage, but also the transparency that the public feels while they're walking down the street. Another part of this concept for us, being a good neighbor, has always been about the fifth facade. Fifth facade being this immense rooftop that we're standing on today. This is 2 acres in the middle of Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. We're a bit lower. We don't need to be up high. This isn't a high-rise residential building, but what we have to do is react to the high-rise residential building around us. We've implemented 1 full acre of vegetated green roof. These are natural sedum. These are local plants. In comparison to what used to be here before, the Marcy house is previously down on an empty gravel lot. By providing this extensive green roof, we have offered ourselves up as a good neighbor to the surrounding neighborhood. Spanning also an acre is an extensive PV array. This PV array provides renewable energy generation at the rate of 240 kilowatts for the building, and allowing its high intensity uses to be supplemented by renewable energies. Not only just minimize the carbon footprint through our sustainable strategies, but really affect positive change into the operations of this facility in a way that is manageable by the agency itself. Really great example of a workable, sustainable strategy is our rainwater harvesting. So beginning with rain collection up here on our extensive green roof, we filter then the water all the way down into the cistern. And once this rainwater is stored, it is then filtered from black to gray and reused by the Department of Sanitation to wash their vehicles. We've been able to implement electric vehicle charging for both fleet vehicles in the basement, small fleet vehicles for day-to-day operations. And looking ahead toward the future, we've implemented EV charging for street sweeping vehicles, as well as level 3 high-capacity chargers for the future of sanitation collection vehicles. The utility needs necessary to power, temper, and exhaust an indoor parking garage for a mission-critical 24/7 city agency are just immensely different than what a normal ground-up construction project requires in the city. And in addition to that, when we talk about the air changes and the electric need on a facility of this size, the design timeline to create this project was long. And so subsequently, the construction timeline is understandably also quite long. Over the course of a decade, building systems change, systems technologies change, and specifically green infrastructure is developing at a pace that is very difficult to keep up with. And we are lucky that throughout the course of design and construction, we've been able to take advantage of a lot of these efficiencies gained in sustainable strategy technology. So I think really the lesson that we've learned through this is to remain open to these types of things, to remain flexible, remain nimble in our solutions and our problem solving. As designers and owners and builders, we're obligated to stay open-minded as technology changes, as systems progress, because change is good. I think these things are really important for the future of green infrastructure in New York City's large-scale agency facilities.
For Brooklyn 3, the biggest challenge in construction were the delays. We started construction right before COVID-19 hit, and the pandemic caused many month delay in construction. When we restarted, there were a lot of items that had long lead times that led to additional delays, and we needed to revise the differing standards between an older LEED version 2009 standard and some ASHRAE standards that were greater. So we worked through a couple revisions with Goldman Copeland and USGBC. The delay actually gave us an opportunity to incorporate new sustainable goals from sanitation and DCAS. We were able to advance some EV charging in the building that before it was built. So we got additional chargers. We were also able to get better performing equipment. The mechanical equipment is more efficient, PVs are better performing, and plumbing fixtures are more efficient, leading to a 60% reduction in potable water use in the building. And then finally, we have an active stair design. We have a stair that is in between our personnel block and the garage that allows daylight in, really highlighting a healthier option, a more active option as you're coming in and out of the building. For me, I think communication was something that I found very important. Looking for cross-agency collaboration can take a while. And so identifying kind of key goals between agencies that we could leverage for a sustainable goal is important, but bringing communication early on in the project will really help embed that sustainable approach for the long run. And finally, I would really say that I would push for more passive, sustainable approaches to construction, greater thermal performance, greater U values in our glazing, the stormwater retention that we have, and then incorporated into the operations of sanitation. Those are strong examples of sustainable practices that will continue on for the life of the building and really would affect any building that we work on, regardless of typology.